I have a 1998 Dodge Ram 1500 pickup, and you can see I have some lights on the dash, a check engine, ABS, and brake. So I'm going to check for a code. And it's showing a code PO720 output shaft speed sensor circuit. Another way that you can tell it's a speed sensor is that when I start to pick up and put in drive and start moving, the speedometer doesn't move until I get up to about 10 miles an hour. The speed sensor is located on top of the differential housing in the rear of the pickup. You can see it. Here's the housing, and it's right here on top. There's a nut here that holds this brake line on, so the first thing you want to do is remove that. And then remove this brake line bracket from this stud. It should just lift right off of there. Next, I'm going to remove this stud. Now I'm going to remove this protective cover. There's a little clip on the front side of the cover. If you just put a screwdriver right in here, you can pry that up and lift the cover off. Next, I'm going to remove this plug. There's a clip here on the top of the plug. If you just slide a screwdriver right in here and lift that clip up, then you can pull the plug straight off. You want to make sure this area is clean before you remove the sensor. You don't want any dirt or debris getting in here. This sensor is just pressed in. It has an O-ring that helps to hold it in place so it doesn't leak. You want to be very careful removing it. It is plastic, and if it breaks, the end of the sensor will fall into your differential, and that's difficult to get out. So what you want to do is just carefully rotate it back and forth. Make sure it's good and loose. I'm going to start with a putty knife and force it under here to pry this up enough so I can get a screwdriver under here and lift up on it. And then I'm just going to use a pair of screwdrivers and work back and forth, lifting up on it until it pops out. You can test these sensors with an ohm meter. You can do this in the vehicle, but I'm going to just show you here. It's a little easier to see. And you see there's no continuity here. So this sensor is bad. Here's the new sensor. I'll show you what it should be showing. You can see that the new sensor, the mounting hole, is on the opposite side. So the plug will be pointing in the opposite direction. So they send this adapter cable so that it'll reach to the original plug on the vehicle. To put the new sensor in, you'll want to put some lube on the O-ring so it slips in easier and doesn't damage it. And then just turn it while you're pressing it in. And then line up the mounting hole with the hole in the differential. As you can see, the protective cover won't go over the new sensor because it's opposite. So I'm just going to bend this tab up out of the way. Now I'm going to plug this new extension cable. On this end goes into the original plug. You want to make sure that snaps securely in place. And then plug in this end into the sensor. And make sure that snaps in place. And you can see that it's fully seated. And you can see that little clip locked into place in here. And then here's this bracket with the tab bent up so it can snap over the sensor, and it'll still protect this plug end here, and that just snaps in place. So make sure the cover is snapped onto this little tab on the front of the sensor. Next, I'm going to replace the stud. Now I'm going to put the brake line bracket back over the stud and then put the nut on. And then I'm just going to put a zip tie around this extra cable to hold it in place. So now I'll check to make sure that the dash lights have gone off. The ABS light and the brake light have gone off. The check engine light is still on, so I'm just going to clear the code out, and that should take care of that. So now when I start the pickup, the ABS pops up, goes off, no more check engine light, dash is all clear.